Good morning, you guys. Good morning, Hero Moms,
Morning.
Hero Dads, and Hero Friends. Yay! It is, what's today, Kelly?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Happy Tuesday.
I know you
And
always
it's
ask me that. I'm like, oh, am I supposed to be saying hump day?
You'll find some cool way to say it, whatever
Yeah.
day it is. You guys, it's Tuesday. It's the second day of the week. Hope you're having an awesome week already. If you started yesterday with us and set it off with a positive mindset, you should have totally won the day, and really just crushed it and ended the day feeling like, yeah, more days like that, more Mondays like that. I'm Paula. This is Kelly and Michelle, and we're Hero Mom Master Coaches, and we love starting our day positive. And we love it, especially when we get to start it with you guys. So let's ring the bell. The bell is the sound that connects us to getting into positive mindset mode. All right, now we go into our deep breath. Breathe in good, breathe out bad. 3 deep in and 3 deep out. Ready? All right, good. Hopefully you guys feel that. Hopefully you're doing that. It's so awesome. It's been a game changer for me. And I know it has for these ladies too. Next, we like to move right into gratitude. Like, let's not waste any time. Let's get our happy on. What are we grateful for? Keep it super simple. Michelle.
I'm grateful for Kelly.
Aww.
Kelly's my high performance coach, and she's amazing. And it's every time I meet with her, I have at least one aha moment. And I always leave like with this crazy action plan, and she just really doesn't fall for any of my BS. She totally makes me own my shiz, and I love her. She's freaking awesome.
That's
Awesome.
so sweet. Well, I'm just the facilitator. You show up to do the work every single time. So you make my job easy. It might not feel easy to you going through it, but you definitely make my job easy. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Awesome. Love fest.
I know.
Kelly, how about you? What are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful for mobility when I have it because my neck is stuck right now. But that aside, I have something I have to share with you that you guys would be so proud of me.
Uh-oh.
I know. I'm grateful. Well, this leads into being grateful for like all the work over like time that's being done and just how you guys help me and support me. Because last night I went to a Toastmasters group.
Oh, what?
Wow.
Oh my God, I had no idea you were going to do that. Awesome.
I know, because I didn't either. And you know me, I mean, like spontaneity in my life is like planning a week out. So I planned less than 24 hours ahead. And I was scrolling through Facebook on Sunday, and they had an ad that popped up. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh, Toastmasters. And I thought, oh, that'd be really cool. And I looked at the time. I thought, I can't do it because I had a client call. Mm-hmm. And my client ended up moving the call. So I thought, this is the universe's way of telling me I need to be there. So I it was one of those things I threw in the back of my mind that I'll go. But you know me, I mean, like that kind of shit scares me. If I don't know where I'm going exactly driving, if I don't all this other stuff, because I drive everything ahead of time. And it was just one of those things. I just was like, okay, honey, I'm going. See you later. Like I felt like such a big girl walking up to the car. And I went. It was really fun. So I met some really cool people. I got some really good feedback. It was really interesting because I didn't really say all that much because as it was an open house and, the observers weren't doing the actual speeches, but we had to talk a little bit about ourselves. And there was this gal afterwards that told me, she goes, I don't know why you're at Toastmasters. She goes, you sounded like really great. I'm like, because that's the easy part. It was just really cool. So I got a chance to chat with her for a little while, talked about HEROMOM. We talked about a lot of different things, and it was just really cool. So it's something that I ventured out and did that was kind of scary to me, because public speaking is scary to me.
Right.
And I have goals. I have things I want to do. And we've talked about this before. And I certainly didn't want to say anything, because I'll be like, you got to go to Toastmasters. We're all going to Toastmasters. And I'm like, no, I'm not going. You know?
Yeah, Toastmasters.
I know, right? So I was just grateful I could put my big girl panties on and go do something like that.
That's awesome. I probably would have
That's
bailed as
huge.
soon as they said you have to talk about yourself. I'd be like, see ya.
Peace out.
Well, they led you into it. So it's like, just tell us your name and if you've ever been in a leadership position. You know?
Okay.
So, I mean, you know, and how long you've been in Toastmasters, because they were talking, you know, everybody was going around the room. So, you know, I just gave my name. I said, I thanked them for, you know, letting me be there. And I have never been to Toastmasters. And I've held numerous leadership positions in my life. And I said, I'm a mom and a wife. And I hope I'm fulfilling the leadership roles there. And then I said, I have future leadership roles that, you know, I have goals. So that was it. And it was like, and it was easy to say that, you know, it was like, and they clap a lot, which is so, well, you know, we're all huggers and lovers. So it's like, that part was really fun. Even the guy said, you'll notice that we clap a lot. So when you go to the grocery store or when you go to work and no one's clapping for you, you're kind of like, why not? You know, it's like, wait a minute.
That's awesome.
It was super fun.
I'm so proud of you for doing that. That's huge.
I know.
Spontaneous and public speaking, both in the
I
same
know.
thing.
And I didn't
Who
even
are
know
you
where I
right
was
now?
going. I know, right?
That's awesome. That would be such a great experience for you. And
Yeah.
you should definitely be public speaking way, way more for sure as well. So I can't wait
It
to
will
see where
happen.
I can't wait to see where that road leads. I've been looking into that as well. And I couldn't find one in my local area that works with my time. So I'm going to attack it from different ways. But I love that idea. And I love knowing that you're doing that. Holy
I
smokes.
know. I was excited.
My wheels
I'll have
are
to
like,
figure out.
okay, public events. When are we having it? Getting
I
Kelly on stage.
will.
What's our topic going to be?
I'm like, oh,
What are her
no.
frameworks?
I know.
Oh,
So it's
good.
Yeah, I know. So it's pretty exciting for me.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Okay. All right. I guess that means it's my turn in terms of what I'm grateful for. I am grateful for scissors. I'm grateful for scissors. Scissors.
Right.
They make cutting really easy. Can you imagine, like, before scissors? Like, how did you cut things?
With a knife.
Okay, but it's not going to be like a perfect straight line. I guess with scissors, it can also be not a perfect straight line. But, you know, like with a knife, you can like accidentally cut yourself and stuff. But with scissors, you can be more precise.
Don't run with scissors.
I've cut myself with scissors before.
I don't think I have, but you can make like snowflakes. You can take a piece of paper and fold them up all like funky and weird and make little cuts, and it ends up being a snowflake and, you know, all kinds of stuff like that. This morning I cut my shirt. I don't know if you can see that. I don't like baggy shirts. They make me crazy. I feel trapped in them because there's just like so much fabric. I just feel like I get like all like smothered. So it has to be fitted so I can't like feel it. Like I have a weird thing about that, don't I?
I like it. I'm the same. I don't want a baggy t-shirt.
Yeah.
And I cut my t-shirts up too.
Yeah. Okay. So there.
But
Kelly, you're the odd one out.
Right. Kels.
I do. I like baggy t-shirts. I don't like t-shirts that are tight on me, too tight. Depends on what I'm wearing and what I'm dressing for, and you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to yoga, so I can't have a baggy shirt because in down dog it's gonna be all wrapped around my neck. So and that'll make me really super crazy for lots of reasons. But
yeah.
But anyway, so I was just thinking, like, I was cutting my shirt this morning, and I just really was thinking, like, how without scissors this would not be possible. The shirt wouldn't have even been made originally without scissors of some sort. So especially once they created fabric fabric is another thing to be grateful for, you guys. Can you
Yes.
imagine what we'd be wearing without fabric? What they used to have to wear before fabric was made?
You'd be wearing animal pelts.
Yeah, it's like itchy
Yeah.
and scratchy and like diseasey.
No.
Diseasey?
Where did you get the DZ from?
Hey, I've seen Braveheart. Well, I guess they were wearing fabrics, but
They were. That
you
was
know,
a little
I've seen,
bit
like, I've
after.
seen- I've
So
seen
you're thinking caveman.
caveman shows. Yeah, caveman movies. I've seen
You've seen
caveman
the
movies.
Flintstones.
I've seen like third world documentaries where they would take animal pelts and chew on them to make them soft, and then like let it dry out in the sun. Like, so gross.
What?
Like nasty. Yeah, because it's like, because when you peel it off the animal and you put it on the sun to dry, it's like hard.
Yeah, it's
It's
crunchy.
like crispy hard and like one big wall of
Bacon.
fur. And then
I thought they like pounded it with rocks or something. I mean, I never heard of chewing on it.
well, I suppose they came up with different things, but I mean, sure, rocks you
they
could find out
probably
there, but
chewed on it first and then graduated to rocks.
yeah, nasty.
Oh, I never
So
thought
I bet they wish they had scissors to cut that stuff up.
about that. Tina says, yeah. Tina says, yeah. Keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Yeah.
We're losing our audience here. Hey, yeah.
I love scissors because it makes things like it's just so much more convenient, right? The next most convenient thing to scissors would just be like saying, just speaking, I want this cut right here, and it just happens. Like that would be the next most convenient thing to having scissors. And that's probably never going to happen. But anyway, it made my life really easy. It made work really quick for me.
It's
this
called
morning.
buying a tank top.
I have a question.
Yes. Michelle, what is your question?
Do you have scissors in your kitchen that you
Yes.
use on food?
Yeah. I use mostly a knife, but sometimes, especially when I see an opportunity that's just going to make it way, way faster, I definitely do. And I've seen your cooking videos. I know you use them, so I've learned. I always learn from movies
Yeah.
and videos.
All right.
But anyway, that's what I'm grateful for, because it definitely it makes things much easier on many different levels. I use the scissors a lot, but it's just one of those things again where you just kind of take it for granted and you don't really think about how much it makes your life easier. It's just always been there. I've lived in a first world country all my life, so I've always had access to scissors. But these are just the little things like what does the word scissor actually mean? Did we create a definition based around this word, or does scissor actually mean like to cut? And then was it maybe named after a person? Who was the person who invented scissors? That's what I want to know.
Well, that's worth
These
a
kinds of
Google.
questions.
Worth a Google.
Let's Google. It's Mercury retrograde, you guys. So maybe there's going to be some funky little conversations going on, lots of emotional feelings. But topics come up, and this is why it's important that we do what we're grateful for, to notice the little things that we take for granted, but also to notice the bigger things too, right? Like Kelly had kind of a big thing. I had a kind of a small thing. Michelle, what would you say yours is? Small or big?
Big.
I say it's big too.
Big. Giant.
Giant, big, and a little body. So yeah. Tina says, I do. What is it? I do. What is that? Will you marry me? I do. What is it? What are you saying? I do too,
I
Tina?
forget what the question is. Probably the retrograde stuff.
Oh, the Mercury retrograde. Or is it, Kelly?
Metro with an M?
No, retrograde. Retro.
Oh, that's what
like
I said.
old.
I,
Like
Oh, I feel like I saw both, or did I just make that up?
I think you made that up.
Okay, sorry.
Scissors were invented by the Romans, by the way. It doesn't say a singular person. It just says the Romans.
Wow. And where's the word derived? I mean, obviously from the Roman language, but did it come like to cut?
It's
Or-
Old French
Oh.
plural, shears, from Vulgar
Hmm.
Latin.
Vulgar.
Yes. Ultimately Latin, to cut.
Okay. Those Romans,
Yeah.
man, they were the inventors of many things for convenience. We owe them a lot.
There you be.
All right, cool. Thanks for looking that up.
You're
All
welcome.
right, so our question of the day, you guys, after gratitude, we like to go into question of the day, just to kind of just go a little deeper on the positive thinking. I'm already super grateful even for the little things like scissors. Are you stimulating or fueling your creative passions? That's a question for today. Are you stimulating or fueling your creative passions? Michelle.
I am. I absolutely am.
Okay. Do we need to drag it out of you, or are you going to share?
I just hired a drum coach, and I start with him on Saturday.
Yay! Oh my gosh, how
So
fun!
excited. Yes.
That's cool.
So, yep. I think
So
that's pretty creative, right?
That's very creative, super creative energy. So tell me, like, what does this do for you? Like, when you play drums, how does it make you feel? What are you thinking about? Like, why is it a passion for you? What does it stimulate or fuel?
When you play drums, and we know this from a scientific point of view, it's not just something that I love the sound of, but you're actually kind of like replicating your body's most primitive system, which is, well, not the most primitive, but one of the most primitive, which is your cardiovascular system. So you're replicating like the rhythm of your own body. And to me, that just like takes me to another level. So it's definitely not only creative but spiritual for me. So, and I like to hit stuff.
I like to beat on things.
Right. And the reason I want to do it more and more now is because my legs, I used to be able to run and hike and do all these things, and I have this crazy cramps and spasms, but I don't get that so far in my arms. So I'm really hoping too that it's going to give me a pretty good little workout. So
it will.
Yeah. So
I mean, really, it definitely can.
I'm excited about that. So
awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm excited to start hearing some of your tunes. So get ready to be recording. Kelly will sing for you, and you'll play drums, and I'll clap for you guys.
We'll have to sing those songs. Songs are like this song. Pump up the jam. We'll just go right to the next one because we only know this much.
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
I love that, Michelle, that you brought up the stimulating things like systems in our body, like our cardio system. Because I remember when I used to teach fitness and I created the playlist, I always looked for the songs that had like heavy bass and strong drum sounds, just like that. Literally, they just made, I turned the music on and they made me want to work out. Like they made me want to move my body. And so when I was working out, listening to those songs, and I think for the class as well, it made everyone just want to push harder, like next level fitness push. And it's so interesting how just our body just knows it. Like I didn't know the science behind it, but our bodies just understood that that's what it's supposed to do. So that's super cool. Good share. Hey. Tina said she started a part-time job with a financial firm to help families and her family too. Wow, Tina.
Oh, that's
I didn't.
cool.
That's amazing. I had no idea you had enough time in your day to do that.
Right? I'm like, oh gosh, they're going to starve now. She won't be able to make those huge spreads.
Yeah. Somebody else is going to have to help her out with that.
Right? Oh my gosh, girl, that's exciting.
That is exciting. I want to hear more about that.
I do too.
Kelly, how about you? Are you stimulating or feeling your creative passions?
I don't like this question.
Why?
I find it really difficult because I'm not like, I don't have the drums as like a type of passion, but probably the best way I can answer that for me is like for me, curiosity killed the cat. So I will look up, well, obviously I looked up the scissor thing. So like I have to know the answers to those types of things. And sometimes it's very innocuous things like scissors, or it's, I'm curious about something about my sleep or whatever. So I'm very much like to learn the answers to the questions that I'm either asking myself or I hear or I want to know. So I think that's a little bit of a piece of that. But I also like being outside. And we haven't been able to do that a lot with the rain and, you know, how cool it's been in general, because I don't want to sit outside if it's, you know, cloudy or cold. So like today the sun's out and, you know, I think I just like to be outside, and that's, to me, that's a huge expression of who I am, and it allows me to think better, and my ideas come to me a little bit more when I am outside. So I guess in a way it's sort of like grounding myself outside. I love doing that and learning more about, you know, we've been talking a lot like about the Mercury retrograde and chakras, and you know, I think that for me has fed a little bit more in the creative part of things for myself, because it's not so tangible, like 1 + 1 is 2, you know. Right. So I think for me, it's feeding a little bit of that. So that's probably the best way I could answer it for me.
All right, so Kelly doesn't like this question because she thinks she's not creative.
Right? I was just going to say, I'm like,
completely not true.
Let's list the ways that she absolutely is creative.
Girl, we need to turn that upside down right now in terms of what you think about yourself, because that is a lie. That is such a lie that you tell yourself.
Yes.
So what?
Okay, first of all, you're an amazing writer. I know that. You're about to be a freaking rock star public speaker. Hello.
Those aren't creative expressions.
Yes,
though.
they are. They absolutely are.
For you or for me?
Well, for anybody. Writing is creativity. Speaking about your passion is creative. You've got to be creative to write those speeches and to execute those speeches. What about your workouts?
What about your oils?
Well, what about your oils? No, I do love my oils, and that is, you know, that is fun for me. I guess I confuse passion with, you know, like just, fun things are, and I like to work out. I guess someone else wouldn't think that was creative expression.
I think it absolutely is. How is it not?
Well, I mean, so typically people think of the arts, right?
Yeah.
Painting, drawing, sculpting, music, acting, you know, that kind of stuff, and dancing, all of that absolutely is creativity without question. But you know, when we think of, like, if we look at Napoleon Hill and how he describes creative thinking, that it's really about coming up with stuff uniquely, creatively from your brain that wasn't something that somebody else created and gave to you and you just, you know, executed that, right? Where you didn't have to creatively think. Even if somebody does give you something like a Shanti workout where he's just like, follow me, you still have to show up with how you're going to experience that. And you have to decide how you're going to experience that, right? So it's, if you have like something that somebody else wrote, for example, creatively wrote, and you're just reading it word for word with zero emotion, you're just literally executing it just to read the words. There's no creative expression there. But when you choose to infuse something uniquely about yourself into anything and it comes out, whether there's other people watching or not, right. For me, that's creativity. Like, you have to create that idea. You have to create that choice, that decision, that way of being. And so there can be specific things like, you know, Michelle's with music with the drums, right? So that's a very obvious, you know, medium for creative expression for her. But Kelly, you and I have talked before that
I know
for Kelly, systems and processes are, organizing things and planning things out, creating a whole plan. Like, that is a very creative space for her. She gets very creative with that. So it's not just, she can take total chaos and order it, right? Like, but by the way that her brain sees it and thinks it, and so that other people can then, you know, engage, interact, follow, use, you know, get the benefits of, or whatever. Or maybe it's just even for herself. But I think that is creative, because there's a lot of people who can't do that.
Right. I agree.
They just see chaos and it just stays chaos, and they just shut down.
Well, what about even coaching? You've got to be creative with the client and pull things out of them that, every person has their own barricades, their own ways of expressing themselves. I mean, you have done stuff with me where it's just like, even just in a conversation like this, not even in the same, and you say, I can feel and such going on with you right now. And I'm like, is there a nanny cam here? Like, is this fine on me? So that's huge. That's hugely creative. And then the way you put it back to people, to how, the steps they have to work on and all, that's hugely creative, I think.
That's all systems.
But I don't know that. I don't know that there's a, XYZ system there that you're like, if A, then this, or however that works. But I don't know that. And I don't feel that I'm being systematically processed or whatever. It doesn't feel
music. Music is systems. Yeah. Like the drums are systems. There's a system to everything. But you still have to, you create your own system of how you want to do it, or you follow an existing system, and then once you follow that sort of baseline system to get the foundation, then you start going off and creating your own spin-offs of that, right? Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Margaret. Good morning, Rhea. And I saw guys. Jody. Hey, you guys. Tina, where said hi, Tina. Thank you guys for joining us. Eric, what's up? So it's really important that we not box creativity. You guys, we can't box creativity. That's like, Kelly, reframe that, girl, when you said, I don't like this question, big whiner. What do you feel about this question now? Why?
Oh my goodness, because she's hard-headed.
I love and I understand everything that you guys are saying, and I probably would not have thought, Michelle, of putting coaching into creativity, because it is a system in my brain. It is a system, but I do have to reach for those outside of the system much of the time to go deep with clients and things like that. So it's leaving that comfort zone of, I think, because creativity is uncomfortable for me.
Yeah, but how do you feel about your intuition, which is like freaking radar intuition?
I do have dog intuition.
You need to change. You have to change your definition of creativity. That old definition doesn't fit you. And have you ever heard these words before when it comes to coaching? You need to put your art into it. Wonder where that comes from. You've never heard that?
No.
What? You've never heard
Oh, like your art, like, I'm thinking like drawing art, like, no, I'm like going, drawing art, no.
You need not change your definition of, you need to expand your definition of creativity.
I do. Yeah.
Margaret says that coaching is super creative. See, girl knows.
Hello, we got to witness. We got to witness.
No, I would have never thought of it that way, but talking about that now, it is, because it's different for everybody. It's not, the same math paper. It's different for everyone. And you have to come up.
To be more resistant too, that you can't just, pluck things, it's a process, and you've got to steer the boat and navigate and, pull things out. It's like, that's hugely creative, because it's so many things going at one time, and especially to do it in an hour.
Well, one of my mentors said, I challenge you to keep it to an hour. She tells me that. I think she's on the screen up there.
And you're really good about it. I mean, it is.
I'm not sure that mentor takes her own.
Right? I don't. No, my calls are almost never an hour, but I can't help it. I love it so much. No, I do have a bunch of 1 hour calls too, but I have a bunch that aren't. Hey, Jennifer and Tammy, thanks for hopping on, you guys. We're talking about, are you stimulating or fueling your creative passions? This is so important for us to make sure that we are giving time for our creative passions. This is how we get into that space. I coach my clients even on this too, where sometimes they feel, so I coach tons of entrepreneurs, high performers. They are so massively creative in their innovation, in the way that they think, in the way that they push themselves outside of their boundaries. of anything that they've ever known, literally going beyond anything that they've ever known, trailblazing. And that is also creativity. But they have, because they're so inspired, they're in such a space of inspired action, they sometimes feel as though the time they spend just like sort of thinking about their ideas is not productive, as if it's, wasting time, daydreaming kind of a thing. And what I know from reading the different, the classic personal development books, again, like Napoleon Hill, he talks a lot about literally scheduling time in your week just for creative thinking. And he gives an example of one guy in his book who schedules it, and he goes into a room with no windows, turns the lights out. It's pitch black. He can see nothing, so that there literally is no distractions. And all he does in that time, he has a specific thing that he wants to go in there and think about. And he goes and he just like lets his mind go crazy, like no boundaries at all, just sort of auto suggesting where he kind of wants to go with his mind. But again, he does this because he needs to create a solution for something that he's never done before. And so he goes in there with this idea of what he wants to create a solution for, but doesn't have the plan on how to do it. And the more he does that, the brain starts to just believe that it's done that before, and starts filling in the missing blanks of how to do things. This is how Thomas Edison, invented all the things that he invented. He just, those were things that were never done before. And it took him lots of times, right, to 1001 before he created the light bulb. But the idea is that these things develop because of creative thinking, not because some hand of God from heaven hands down here is how you create a light bulb. Like, our brains have the ability to do incredible, amazing things if we give it time and space. And it absolutely is productive to do this. So don't think daydreaming is wasting time, but kind of put a little bit of purpose and structure to that, so that you can maximize your brain's ability to really get creative and just go for and pull out stuff that you've never done before. Hey, Uncle Mike, how are you doing? Uncle Mike's on, you guys.
Hi, Uncle Mike. Kels, I have this amazing book I want you to borrow. I don't see it on the shelf, but it's probably in the other room. Mm-hmm. But it's called The Artist's Way, and it has nothing to do with painting pictures or anything like that. But it's I'll pull it out for you. So it's really cool.
Well, and I know, Paula and I have one of our sessions, it talks about creative expression, and we've talked about, and again, it's just reframing and remembering that, how I want to show up in the world, with authenticity being my word of the year. It's making sure that I am expressing myself in a way that gives everyone else permission to feel safe in the space that I'm in. And it takes different ways for me to do that, depending on where I'm at. And it's not always apparent what that might be, because sometimes I'm like, shit, well, how am I gonna, how am I gonna do this? Or how am I, I've always got that question on top of my mind. How can I make this a safe space? And so I have to constantly, and I know we've talked about that before, and it's in my planner every day too, on how I want to show up. I want to show up as me, and that could look different every single day, depending on what the day holds. So I do know that I wish creative wasn't attached to people who just knew how to paint, or that's what the generalization. The generalization.
Pause. I have to stop you right there, girls. You're going to the dark side right now.
No, I understand
that creativity. Is okay, but you said I wish it was not just attached. Who attached it?
I think just the generalization that society makes. It's not, I don't. I'm one of those people too. I take responsibility for that too.
That's a blame.
But a lot of society thinks that too. There's a lot of generalization about that. So it's changing the thinking.
It's
changing Kelly's thinking.
Changing Kelly's thinking.
Yeah. I still hate that question.
Stop. Oh my gosh, Michelle, we have to dogpile and pin her down.
I will. I don't know. I thought she'd be into a book. I thought I could really read a book.
Oh, I'll totally read a book. I will. I'll do it.
Okay, Okay, Kelly, for those who are watching and listening to you and your empowered mindset, what's the new belief you have to have about being creative?
That I am
Show us the way,
creative.
girl. Okay.
What about even
That was a question mark, though. That was a question, not a
there
statement.
are gifts, and there are gifts that I have. I just don't always recognize them as gifts. So yes, I have gifts, and those are my creative expression. And whether it's the gift of knowing a spreadsheet or being able to organize things or coaching, whatever that might be, I do have gifts, and those all gifts are creative expressions. So that's really how I need to look at it.
Absolutely. I think chefs are artists. I think that
of course they are.
Marie Kondo. How about Marie Kondo?
Yes. Oh, I love her.
Do you know who she is, Kelly?
Yeah, she annoys me.
What? Oh my gosh, she's so adorable. I love her.
How can you?
I love Mrs. too. I'm a total.
I love you, Pen. You've served me well, but I must throw you away now. That's just.
Oh boy.
Okay, Kelly, I'm just like I'm deleting you off of today's call. I'm sorry, girl.
We're voting you off the island. That's it.
But she's freed a lot of people of their junk. So
Right,
more.
Sorry.
Oh.
Totally
throwing it away.
I muted you, Kelly.
Her? Oh.
Just being nasty.
Oh, please don't give Paula all the power. We're gonna have to shake up this power.
That was
uncreative
expression,
right?
Wow. So Marie
I'm being
Kondo,
difficult. It's my neck.
You are being difficult. No, no, this is Kelly even without the neck.
I
am being difficult. I apologize, but I really do believe that gifts are creative expressions for people. Even Marie Kondo, whatever her name is.
Oh my God.
What about you? And what about you?
Oh, I have gifts. Yes, I have gifts, and those are my creative expressions.
Okay.
Yes, those are my creative expressions.
With you. Regardless of if you
Thank
agree
you,
with
Rhea.
Marie, regardless of if you agree with Marie Kondo's approach to clutter, you have to respect the fact that she came up with a very creative way of dealing with clutter that has served a lot of people. Of course, it's not for everybody. What we talk about isn't for everybody. Nobody has one thing that's for everybody. I can't stand Picasso paintings, but I love the total fearless self-expression, totally authentic self-expression that he has in his art. But I would never buy one or hang it on my wall. But still, like, again, when somebody just goes there, like, totally, people have probably even said to Marie, like, okay, your approach, kind of weird. Like talking to the stuff, blessing the house, whatever.
But she's a coach too. She is a coach too. She is getting people to get rid of their crap that they don't use, that's making their house cluttering. And the whole theory behind it is that you can't get your mind right if you're sitting in a whirlwind of junk. You know?
And there's more than one way of dealing with it, but her way is very effective for those who believe in that system and that approach, right? So the whole point being that what I believe about Marie Kondo, regardless of if I agree with her approach or not, that she's coming fearlessly from her own approach, which, now she's being recognized as brilliant. But I'm sure in the beginning, people just thought she was like, why are you turning clutter into this like spiritual thing? It's not, it's just junk, but she took it to another level.
But people have attachments to things, and too. So I can see how that would help certain people. I mean, I really don't know much about her. I have not. All I know, what I said to the pen was like a joke, because that's what I see people memeing out there. I have zero understanding of what she does, but so.
Kelly, you are salty today, girl.
Wow.
You're just like a salty and spicy.
It's my neck, man.
Oh man, don't blame it on the neck. You're not blaming it on the neck, girl.
I'm a pain in the neck, right?
It's that Mercury thing.
It must be. Ooh. Different emotions, I guess, huh?
You need to put on some harmony. Harmony.
It's probably about that time too. Yes, I'm heading that way.
All right. Let's see. For me, the things that I do to stimulate or fuel my creative passions, I feel like I do that all day long, every day. I never ever feel like I'm in a space that or doing something that has zero creativity in it. And it's not because they might not be creative. It's just that I am a creative thinker, and so I just bring creativity into everything that I do. I just naturally do that. I can't help it. I can't. It's if it doesn't feel creative, then I won't do it. Like washing dishes. I haven't found a creative way to do that, so I don't do it.
I have a creative way to wash the dishes.
I'm happy for you.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Do you want me to tell you what
Aaron
it
has
is?
a creative way. No, I don't want to know.
I bet Aaron wants you to know.
He's got a really good system. I creatively cheer him on.
Maybe I should talk to Aaron. Yesterday I was talking to Dan. That went well.
Yeah. I'm like, why are you telling her I'm giving you chicken noodle soup in a can and telling you to leave me alone?
Oh, man. So yesterday, yeah, Dan asked me a question and I asked him, how do you feel? Because he's got the flu, right? He's like, not good. I've been down for 3 days. So I tell him, tell Kelly to make you that healing Asian soup. And he writes back. He goes, she gave me a can of Campbell's chicken noodle and told me to go away.
Oh my gosh.
So I asked Kelly, I'm all, you give your husband a can of chicken noodle soup and tell him to go away? And her answer was not no. It was not no. Oh man.
I gave him a box of soup and told him to not be in my breathing space. As I ran around with the Lysol.
Man. Kelly girl.
Oh,
Kelly's
I am
salty
such
week.
a bitch. I know. I'm sorry.
We have to do a little intervention with our Kels here. Oh man, now you made me cry. That made my whole day yesterday. That was so funny. I kept rereading it. I was like, oh my goodness. My girl Kelly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry.
I do think though that Kelly has a really good point with in terms of like creativity being mostly attached to things of the most commonly thought of arts. Like, for example, our girl Margaret, who is on, she's super creative, and in working with like colors and design and stuff like that, like interior designers, obviously that would be a massive creative art, in my opinion, right? Because they're taking a house and making it look like the cover of a magazine, and all the creativity of understanding why this couch, why that wall color, why these curtains, why this not carpet, but that other one, removable carpet,
rug.
Thank you.
Rug.
That one removable carpet that you can fly off.
Yeah, magic carpet. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word. A little oriental moment. But anyway, like coaching, for example, would be like interior design of the mind, right?
Ooh,
like
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
I think you can make almost anything creative, like even making the bed, right? I mean, but you have to put your intention into it. Yes, Paula, you don't make the bed either. Oh hell no, I'm getting on with Aaron.
I do make the bed. It's not creative. It's very systematic. Drives Aaron
you have
crazy.
To put your intention, put your love into it. That you're setting the, making it cozy for you and your spouse or your dog or whatever. It's a mindset thing.
Okay, so I have this thing about feeling trapped. So if my sheets and blankets are not perfect, no wrinkles, it has to be even on all sides, and everything laid on, like the edges of it have to be like all lined up of every layer. Otherwise, I will go crazy. I can't sleep.
That's artistic.
And Aaron's like, they could be upside down, sideways, backwards, crumpled up, like it wouldn't even matter to him. He can sleep on anything and just pass out. but I can't. I'll wake up literally in the middle of the night, strip the whole bed and remake it if I have to, so that I can sleep. But
And do you make him get up? Get up, Aaron. I'm making the bed.
Oh, if it's in the middle of the night, he doesn't get up. He just like lays there and lets me have my little freak out session. But when we're awake, he's very good. He's totally like jumps in. He kind of knows my like weirdness about it, and he's right there enabling my weirdness and helping me get his side of the bed exactly perfect. But it's true. I agree with Michelle. You can bring creativity into anything that it is that you do. So sometimes people feel deprived of having time to be creative because they don't have a scheduled time of the day to go, you know, make things with clay, or go to like one of those places where you can get wine and paint or something like that, as if it has to look like that. It certainly doesn't have to look like that. It can look like that, and it's awesome if it does look like that. But how can you stimulate and feel your creativity in the things that you do on an everyday basis? Like bring that into that, because it's going to make it more meaningful and more fulfilling, which will bring more joy and positivity into your day. Kelly,
I got a new one. Yes.
Let's hear it.
All right.
You know, my creative expression is what I wear too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Now you're catching on.
I know. Yeah. So yeah, I feel good.
All right, we got a winner. That you have,
right?
Kelly's house with purple everywhere. Not everywhere. She doesn't like abuse it or anything. It's tastefully placed. But the fact that she makes sure purple is there, in her house, in her office, on her body, in her writing utensils, her fingernails, like that is creative expression.
Yeah. So what do you have to say to the pin now, huh?
To the what?
To the pin. You better make up with that pin.
It's going in the garbage. It's empty. It's been used and abused. It's done.
Okay, thank you, Pen, for giving me so much purple writing before you died. I love you. Thank you for making my paper look so pretty with purple everywhere.
And I stole it from my kid. Oh. So thank you, Gabe.
You guys, we're being super silly and goofy, but I think you guys get the idea, right? Just like understanding like really how to, creativity is such an important part of our lives. It's an important part of our happiness. It's a human drive to be creatively expressive. So we're hardwired to need to have that in our day, somehow in the way that we live our lives. So please make sure if you can't answer that question, you have a hard time like Kelly did, because of maybe it's the way you view the definition of creativity or passion, or how to stimulate that, or how to fuel that. So just kind of like, you know, take those boundaries around that belief and just like kind of knock them down. Just like there is no boundary, there is no edge. It just goes wherever I tell it to go. That's creativity. For you might have like, this is what my creativity looks like, and so somewhat, you know, boundaries. Kelly has a certain way that she likes to be creative. Now, if she wanted to be an artist where she could paint paintings or make sculptures or whatever, she certainly could. She would just need to put the learning into it, and to the point where she got comfortable enough with it where she felt that she was putting art into it. But my point is that you know, just be conscious of bringing whatever your version of creativity is into all the things that you do. When I show up to do my personal business, my personal brand business, I'm very much showing up as, you know, this is my business. Like, this is an expression of me. This is an extension of me. This is how my clients are going to experience me as a person. But when I show up for my W-2 job, I bring that same energy. I treat my position as if it is my personal business. And so therefore my own creativity comes into that as well. And my clients feel cared for. And my employers feel like they're getting, you know, 100% of my commitment and creativity and what I bring, you know, what I have the highest level of potential to bring. I think it's important in terms of creativity that we do feel like we're in that space of high potential, because that's that's where the creative imagination comes in. We can tactically do whatever, anything. Anybody can learn a tactical process, but when it goes beyond that to the point of bringing self into it, our art, that's creative. That is creative expression. Don't you think, Kelly?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I do
Alright.
agree. I am being salty. I'm being a little salty. It is a difficult question for me. I've worked through it many, many times, and it usually comes out the same. Like well, actually, always does. Thanks, Paula. It always comes out that way. So yes, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, Michelle, any
Yeah.
closing words?
I gotta get Kelly that book.
We're
I
gonna
will
have
get it.
pillowcases.
To me, I like to try to, bring that into obviously my cooking, how my house is arranged or whatever. But even like when I was little, like even doing work, like my parents kind of taught me, like, you're going to have to work your whole life, and you can either dread it or you can make it fun, so how do you take something that's kind of not fun and make it fun that you want to do, and you have to be creative to do that. So
Yeah,
I think that Kelly's not giving herself enough credit. For sure,
it's there. She's just not seeing it that way.
Yes.
So it's a perspective flip, and that's true. That happens for a lot of us in a lot of different situations. That's what we would call old conditioning from old Kelly, unempowered Kelly, to current Kelly, updating.
I think that was a headbutt. That was an attempted headbutt.
She's like, I think that's old conditioning. I'm like,
yeah. So sometimes we just catch ourselves in those moments, right? It's time to evolve that belief, because that old belief is creating a lie, a self-belief that's a lie, that Kelly thinks she's not creative, which is completely untrue. But I don't think she thinks that now, but for a long time she thought that, because of that old definition. So as we evolve, we have to evolve our definitions and the way we view things. We got to check in with those beliefs and prove them wrong or prove them right, and then update our beliefs based on that. So I'm proud of you, Kelly, for letting us pick on you and use you as an example for everyone. Kelly and I have had lots of conversations about her creativity, and she knows she's super creative. And if she wasn't, she'd be booted. She wouldn't even be part of this cool kid show,
right?
To own it.
And the thing is, we've talked about there are things that you do in your life that feel very habitual, feel very routine, but they are very creative, like my working out, like things that just are automatic for you are, to put that one to bed, but still it's, there, you can find creativity in your day and in yourself, because whatever you're thinking about is a process you're going through to make things better or to think things better. So it's, that's creative in itself. And yes, I recognize I am a creative person. I know that. It just took a lot of talks about that to break that old conditioning, because for the longest time I thought, oh, well, that means just because I don't paint doesn't mean I'm not creative.
Exactly. And so then once you recognize that, stimulating that, fueling that, keeping that fire of it alive, burning bright, expanding, and just being nurtured and cared for, so that you don't ever feel like you're outside of that creative space. As soon as we feel like we're not being creative, a little bit of us kind of starts to die. Like we just feel like robots. Going through life, going to a job, picking up the kids, making meals, doing laundry. If there's no creativity in that, even if you don't have time outside in your day to do things beyond that, how can you bring creativity into that? And if you can't, if you feel like there's no way to bring creativity, then maybe it's time to look at how you view those things. Maybe, like kind of like how I view doing dishes. Like, I need to change my attitude about that and be really grateful that these dishes served me food at lunch that my awesome husband cooked and was super delicious and nourished me. And I'm so grateful I didn't have to use my hands and eat them off the floor.
Right.
So I take care of those dishes because they help me feel very civilized. You know, I'm just making stuff up, but you guys get the idea. It's important. It's important. It's all right here. It's all about this, what's going on here, and how you choose to experience things. So how do you want to experience creativity, right? How does that show up in your life? How do you stimulate that? All right, you guys, that's it for today. We hope that you join us tomorrow. Tomorrow, what's tomorrow, Kelly?
Hump day.
Yeah.
That
All
was
right, you guys
creative.
have a, yeah, there it is.
There you go.
We hope you guys have an awesome Tuesday. Win your day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.